All right, welcome back. In case you're just joining us, it's time for our first conversation. You're just joining us now. You've missed Smarting, just small. You need to really tune to this program throughout this year in case you are just seeing the show for the first time. So the first conversation is on right now. My guest is here, Sam Obafemi, the president of Sam Obafemi Behavioral Change Academy. Like I said at the beginning of the program, we'll be looking at achieving business success this year, what it has to do with emotional stability. So much about emotional stability, EQ, emotional intelligence, and your achievements in life. Because a lot of people said, at least in the past, it used to be said about IQ, people with high IQ. But now it's not just only about IQs, it's also about EQs, perhaps ES, emotional stability. Sam is joining me here. Sam, happy New Year. Welcome to the show. It's been a while.
Yes, it's been, I don't know who between us is traveling around the world.
It should be you, because for me, like you say, she no leave, no transfer.
No, but last episode or something, I saw you guys were on the show. So
yes,
like, Nancy has run away again.
No, I didn't really run away. I really needed a break,
I envy you. I wonder how you cope.
I wonder how I cope too. You're working, okay, we started the new year. You're working like that, like a train all through the year. But like, I just told my crew, I told my people, can I just have a break?
I want to grow up and be like you.
People were thinking I traveled. I said I didn't travel, I was in my house.
You did, honestly.
I just needed some break.
It's good.
And you really need to do that.
And that's quite smart, because your emotions need it.
Yeah.
Very important. Yeah. Business decisions require a lot of conservation of emotions. Because most times when we make an error of judgment, it's an emotional mistake. Many times when emotions overshadow logic, you make a mistake.
So logic should overshadow
emotion. So logic and emotions should equalize. Nelson Mandela said, it's a lethal combination when your head and your heart are in alignment. So the goal this year for your listeners and viewers is always come to a place of discipline where your logic and your emotions are in alignment. Because every time you are more emotional than logical, you make mistakes. You become erratic, impatient, illogical, sentimental. But in business, you need to be emotional about the business and not sentimental about it. It means that you should have an attachment to your business. You should have a passion for the business. You should have a diligence towards the business. But you cannot be sentimental about it, which means you must know where to draw boundaries, where to draw the line, what to do when you're making losses, what to do when you're making profits. Because most times you find people begin to make so much money, they lose their head. So the combination of logic and emotion, that alignment is very critical for business owners to understand in 2020. So a typical example, you know that you're expected to be compliant with taxes. That is a logical thing. But then you become sentimental, and then you refuse to pay attention to the nitty-gritty of complying with taxes. That is going to hurt your business. You know that you have a set of staff that are not hitting the bottom line. But because of maybe, it's a friend's child that I hired, this staff over years has been doing so well, I don't want to come across as being ungrateful. You need to be logical. You need to sit down with this staff and say, fellow, these are the deliverables on your job, and I need to understand what is going wrong, where. That logic is very important. So you don't go hiding behind. I know some business owners have observed that many business owners transfer responsibilities to another staff. So as the business owner, a staff is not meeting up, and either you're a manager or a HOD, and you're afraid of sitting with that staff to determine what should we do differently. How can I help you become better on this job? So the absence of logic any time would always introduce losses and chaos. However, the absence of emotions is also why we have high staff turnover and high losses too. Because John Maxwell will say, I don't care how much you know. I also want to see how much you care. So the absence of emotions makes people have high staff turnover, because the staff just feel, these are our guys all about the money. He doesn't care about me. But the absence of logic is also where everybody is like a field day. Everybody, anywhere believes. So that balance is very critical.
So at what point do you achieve that balance? And what should that balance mix be?
Good.
So, because from what you're saying,
Yes.
it should be somehow equal.
It should be equal as much as
But
possible.
can you achieve that equality as a human being?
It's a transition.
Okay.
From the get-go, you must determine what balance should look like in the organization. A typical example, if you are in a business development department, the logic behind your department is that you're bringing in new business and bringing in new markets and doing customer relationship. So we expect you to balance the logic of turning in the figures and relating with the customers. That's balance. If you're in accounts, we don't necessarily expect you to bring in accounts because you're not in the marketing facing side. But that doesn't mean you can't bring in new business. However, we expect you to be more, it's expected that it seems that you should be more logical, but you're not expected to be more logical. You're also expected to advise and relate with staff based on how they can become more financially literate. So this balance from the beginning should be determined. However, we also understand that different employees and different people in businesses have different knowledge gaps, skill gaps, and even exposure gaps. That is where the transition comes in. The business owner must ensure that him or her and their management team always evolve in terms of awareness and knowledge so that you can carry your staff along. If you are in a business and your staff are not evolving over time, your business is just a matter of time, it will shut down. So while we say we want equality in terms of logic and emotion, we understand there is a transition. But there has to be that plan. There has to be that schedule. There has to be that consistency of evolution of the staff. One of the biggest things I think business employers should pay attention to is, can I install a system in my business where my staff can stay with me for a decade? If business owners can think that way, their businesses will grow. Instead of hiring for now, when a person is coming into your business and you're doing the interviews, look at this person and say, what can I do for this person to stay in my business for 10 years minimum? And start working at it. And of course, that takes a lot of negotiation because expectations change over the years. A person comes into your business, the person is single. Then the person wants to get married. What is our contribution to the person getting married? Then the person gets married and starts having children. What contributions do we have to helping in raising the children? Fees, bills, house rent, or relocation. The more we are contributing to their growth, they will be more loyal. We call it law of reciprocity. They would like to reciprocate in the business. This is the ideal situation. So when business owners think long term with respect to hiring and workplace, comfort, you realize that you're not afraid about losing staff. Then you can focus on strategy.
Now, how do one achieve emotional discipline? And is emotional discipline part of emotional stability or is different from it? I brought in that question of emotional discipline because of where you started from.
Emotional discipline is very important. It depends on, there are 3 factors that determine emotional discipline. And if I was to answer whether it's the same as emotional stability, emotional discipline facilitates emotional stability. Emotional stability is maturity. I'm able to trade my emotions based on context, timing, persons, place. That's emotional stability. Emotional discipline helps to attain emotional stability. For you to be able to be emotionally disciplined, you need to check your background. Many of us were raised at different levels and different places. It contributes to our ability to be emotionally disciplined. If I grew up with a mom that was an insulter of life, can insult your destiny, when I grow up, I have a tendency to do it. It's just the byproduct. So our background or our upbringing is a strong element to determine our emotional discipline. If you grew up with parents that were modest, that's why if you see kids that grew up in deeper life or those kind of strict sects, when they grow up, it's difficult for them to spend on themselves or even be extravagant because they've grown with so much discipline. They see you buying an iPhone like, why are you wasting money? It's the byproduct. So upbringing is a critical element. The environment people grow is also an element that determines emotional discipline. So you find out that people leave their upbringing, go to the wider society, maybe a boarding school, tertiary education, church, estate, and they begin to align and associate with people. That association can rub off either way. And that is why I say peer pressure is a lifetime thing. And when somebody gives into peer pressure, there's feedback that there was a gap in knowledge about that thing they gave into. And then the third is, of course, our own life's experiences. So if I have been indisciplined emotionally at a point, my fingers will be burnt. I am likely to become disciplined from that moment with respect to that context of life. So these three elements determine one's emotional discipline.
So you really need a mix of emotional intelligence, a mix of emotional intelligence, emotional discipline, emotional stability,
and emotional immunity.
Emotional immunity, what
yes.
does that mean?
Emotional immunity is realizing that some inevitable things in life would happen. There will be losses, there will be pain, there will be setback, there will be a lot of things. And you need to come to a point where you allow yourself either grieve or mourn or feel disappointed or you are angry, whatever it is. There is a timeline, then you bounce back. So emotional intelligence, emotional discipline, emotional stability, and emotional immunity. This combination is very key.
That combination to achieve business success.
Very important.
In fact, I saw the interview Aliko Dangote had this morning. When I woke up early this morning at about 5 or so, I was doing my, normal readings and co. So I watched the Aliko Dangote's interview with David on Bloomberg. And you guys can Google it. And the man was asking Aliko Dangote, he said, I've known you for a while. You don't tend to lose your temper. You don't do anything. What phases you? And Dangote said, this morning, nothing really. I'm just so calm and cool. Nothing, but I really don't like people not telling me the truth.
Yeah, you can imagine.
You will not see me shouting.
You can imagine,
That was what Dangote said this morning. And I said, I wish
you
I can
be
take that trait. So that perhaps when the production is not going well, I'm not losing my head.
But you can. This morning on my diary, my usual diary of a coach, I talked about emotions affect everything. And I talked about the emotions list. There is a list, there is a global list of emotions. How I am able to be calm, serene, peaceful, civil, even when I'm upset. I've met people who tell me why they are angry with me is that even when I'm angry, I'm polite.
Yeah.
How are you able to be polite when you're angry? Well, it's just a projection. What that means is you associate with the emotions that exist and identify what emotions do I want to operate in.
But you actually said earlier there is a transition.
Yes.
So it's a maturity journey.
That is intentional.
There's intention. I'm trying. Not that I'm bad. I'm not bad. But I said this year, 2020, I would try as much as possible, even when things are glaring, that will frustrate and upset me.
There's a simple process to this. If you just Google list of emotions, you have the list of emotions. And then you go through each emotion. There are over 3,000 emotions. You pick the top 10 that you want to associate with. And then just use the normal vision board principle that creates the law of attraction. Because the thing is, whatever you subconsciously dwell on becomes your experience. So if I subconsciously always dwell on being calm, being civil, okay, Nancy, right now you're upset, but speak, don't scream. Talk, don't shout. You have to keep telling yourself that. And then you realize that over time you begin to get used to it. People will be like, that woman is pretending, this is not the Nancy we know. And it's doable.
Not the Nancy. The Nancy is a very good Nancy. Let me say that. let me not demonize myself on national television this morning. But like you say, or like they always say, it's a journey. Yes. And in life, as you get older, you age, you try as much as possible. I really was watching Dangote this morning, and I took that from. I said, yes, he was $4.3 billion richer in 2019. And this is a man that you will see a lot of knocks every day. Yes. He may be losing money. Yes. One tanker people could be misbehaving, and he said, I'm just calm. But I don't like when people don't tell me the truth. So just as we end the show, I know you're going to come back because it's still the month of January. Like I said earlier, party after party, it don't end. That is December has ended. Your champagne glasses are up, you are hanging. So you need to be serious this year. It's the beginning of a new decade.
Yes.
Those of people are against that. It's not the beginning of a new decade, but whatever it is a new year. The last question for you is, who are those that are more emotionally stable? Because I was reading something some time ago, and they said women are more, okay, let me not say women, female executives are more emotionally stable, because we're talking about business, are more emotionally stable than men. Because perhaps when things go wrong in the house or in the home, men seem not to control themselves, or male executives. But female executives, when they have some things going on with them, they concentrate on the job more. As a coach, is that true?
There's been a lot of research around this. In fact, research shows that men are more emotional than women. Yes, research shows that men are more emotional. But the thing is,
do men show it?
Men show it where they want to. They don't just show it like, oh, you know, I'm crying. Women feel more liberty to express, but men are more emotional. However, women are more resilient. Women have the predisposed wiring to multitask. So they are able to treat several emotions at the same time. Men seem to just pocket everything in one place. And so if a man is dealing with a dysfunction in one side of his life, he can just shut it down and pour all his energy in one thing. And if that one thing becomes destabilized, then you now see the crisis on him. But a woman is able to carry along to a large
many
extent.
things. You're carrying work, you're carrying family, my baby is crying, I'm supposed to be in a meeting.
Very important. So it's possible for a woman CEO. And, you know, sometimes it's with someone tell business owners, if you have more women in management, your company will take off.
That was what I wanted to ask.
Your company will
that
take
perhaps
off.
Would it now be a smart business case, especially for businesses this year, to deliberately hire more
personal
females?
Recommendation I normally give my clients: have more women in your management positions. They have a critical way to see things. They see long term, faster than men, and they have that resilience to be able to juggle many things. And once a woman is committed to your business, just go and sleep. If you can get a woman to be committed to your business, go and sleep. But for a guy,
but the other things, anyway, we can go on now. The other things also associated with women, especially for female executives that have families, you see pregnancy, family time, all those things affecting leave.
Oh, well, the good thing about that is a woman that is committed to her job or business has planned that. They just know, okay, I've conceived. Plan B, C, D till Z. They've sorted it out.
I get you.
I'm sure you understand.
I understand clearly. Sam, thank you very much.
Thanks, Nancy, for having me.
We'll try as much as possible to, expand on this another day.
That would be nice.
We'll talk about it because my idea this year, or my goal for our viewers, is not just talking about economy. Economy is bad. The economy is not looking well. But I'm also committed to help businesses grow and to also help us grow in our individual capacities.
Nice.
Yes,
really nice.
in our business. So thank you, Sam.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Be good.
All right, I've been speaking with Sam Obafemi, who is the president, Sam Obafemi Behavioral Change Academy. We've been looking at emotional stability and achieving business success this year. You've heard it from him. Let's quickly take a break to bring in Johnson Chukwu, who is now a chief. He says, Nancy, don't do that. He's a chief.